The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Kinect. Nonprofit Kinect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cynder Sinclair with Nonprofit Kinect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits, so get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Greg Gorga, and many know Greg in his main capacity as Executive Director of the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum. And today he is here with a little different hat on. He's going to be talking about the new Environmental Alliance of Santa Barbara County Museums. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Oh,
always good to be here.
So fun to have you here, and you have a big story to tell. This new alliance is like nothing I've ever seen, and so would you first tell us about how it started, because I love this story.
Sure. So the Alliance is a new idea, but what I should tell you is that the directors of the museums throughout Santa Barbara County have been getting together for decades.
Oh.
And you know, a lot of people think of nonprofits as competing against one another,
Yeah.
And that's really not the case, especially in our case as museums, gardens, zoo, have really worked together over the decades. I've been with the Maritime Museum for 15 years. We've been meeting quarterly pre-COVID and going to visit each other's museums throughout the county up to Santa Maria, Solvang, and just tackling problems that we all face and seeing how we can help, because there's power in numbers, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then when COVID happened, we actually were meeting weekly via Zoom to talk about, you know, all the different issues, you know, protocols, are you going to close, how long you're closed, how are you taking care of your staff, are you doing remote, did you have to let staff go, are you getting unemployment benefits and things like that. And then PPP loans, we actually helped each other with those. And you know, the bigger institutions have a lot more knowledge, and so it helps some of the smaller institutions, but it's really been a cohesive group. And you know, instead of being competitive, I think funders really like that's happening. I know they do, because they've told us that, right? And we bring some of the funders in to talk to us as a group and things like that. So during COVID, at some point, about a year and a half ago, we all thought COVID was kind of waning.
Yeah.
That didn't turn out to be the case, but we decided about a year and a half, 2 years ago, to do this Environmental Alliance and to tackle the issue of climate change. And to time it with Earth Day in April, spring of 2022.
Oh, gosh.
And we gave everybody flexibility on how to do that and what they wanted to do. And not all the museums and institutions participated, but 14 of us did do something on as an environmental alliance. And we came up with impact, climate change, and the urgency of now.
The urgency of now.
Yes, and we timed it with Earth Day, which of course the Community Environmental Council puts on Earth Day every year, and so that was kind of our big breakout event. We were at that event to tell people about this alliance, and then each of us have been doing things started already, but some through September we're doing different things, and it could be an exhibit. It could be a program, it could be a summer camp, a workshop, whatever it works for that institution.
So in keeping with their particular mission.
Exactly.
That's great. So talk a little about the urgency of now.
So, you know, climate change is affecting us all. So obviously, Santa Barbara, we've had fires, we've had a little bit of flooding, you know, we had the mudslides for sure. You know, I was just at a conference, so there's a Council of American Maritime Museums. We have an annual conference. We finally got to do that in person again. I was in St. Michael's, Maryland, and there was a whole presentation on rising seas, because maritime museums tend to be on the water. And so right near where we were, Annapolis, which is also where the Naval Academy is, the museum there experienced 200 days of flooding in the last year. St. Michael's, the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum, Mystic, Connecticut Maritime Museum, South Street, New York City Maritime Museum, all reported at least a half dozen days when they are flooded that it directly impacts their operations. And then you have the wildfires, the wind events, all that is directly related to climate change. Our scientists are telling us that. And so another interesting thing, so there's an American Alliance of Museums, and a study came out where they asked about climate change, and they asked people who they trusted to talk about climate change. Scientists, as they should be, were number one. Museums were number two.
Oh.
So I think this is an appropriate topic. The whole idea is to get our community to do some action on these issues, to make them aware of the issues, but also to spur action. That's why it's impact and the urgency of now.
Wow, that is a big project, and I love how you've broken it down and come together with one focus, and yet each organization can approach it in the way that seems best for them.
Absolutely. And the goal is for every 2 years for this Environmental Alliance of Museums to tackle a different facet of that issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will you always sort of roll it out on Earth Day, or did it just happen to be this time because of climate change?
That's a good question. I think it makes sense to roll it out with Earth Day, but I'm not sure at this point. But I know we want to tackle a new issue every 2 years. And kind of this came out of Stacy at Wilding Museum. It came from her about 5-6 years ago. Who knows what time? There's the Pacific Standard Time, and a lot of art museums did something statewide on California kind of art. And so that was kind of the impetus of this idea. But again, I got to say that we've been working together on different facets for years and years, but really nice to tackle this specific issue together.
So that's so great. So you had really kind of unknowingly built a strong foundation of collaboration with all of the museums. And now you just had to build on top of that strong foundation. Good for you.
Yeah, and when we opened our permanent exhibit, which was Whales Are Superheroes, and it talks about how whales help with climate change by absorbing, through whale poop.
Yes.
Feeds phytoplankton, feeds krill, which absorb through photosynthesis, absorbs CO2, produces oxygen. There's directors of 3 other places there at our opening, so we're very good about supporting each other and going to other people's openings and programs.
Gosh, that is great. So let's look and see what are some examples of what some of the other museums are doing. Maybe off the top of your head, or you could look.
Yeah, I might have to cheat a little bit and read here. So I should mention all the different organizations.
That'd be good.
All right. So we have the Art, Design, and Architectural Museum at UCSB. We have Everhall Museum of History and Art in Solvang. Moxie, the Wolf Museum of Exploration and Innovation, right down at State Street. Museum of Contemporary Art, Santa Barbara. Old Mission Santa Barbara Museum. Santa Barbara Botanic Gardens. Santa Barbara Historical Museums. The Maritime Museum, of course. Santa Barbara Museum of Art. Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History, and also their Sea Center. So they have 2 different parts of it. Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation, Santa Barbara Zoo, and then the Wilding Museum of Art and Nature in Solvang. So 14 different partners.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you folks are used to meeting on a regular basis. All of them?
Yeah, more. Actually, there's more to this group, but these are the ones that are part of the, that are doing something on climate change right now.
And so you also, all of you, or most of you, belong to probably national organizations?
Absolutely. So I know the zoo does, Botanic Gardens as a separate organization, all the museums, and actually Botanic Gardens Zoo are a part of the American Alliance of Museums, but there's also zoological organizations, art organizations, so California Association of Museums, I'm part of a Council of American Maritime Museums, so yeah, we all have our other groups as well that we're involved with.
So do you have any sense of how unusual this is in the country for a group of museums, local museums, to come together and really focus on a single project?
I think it is very unusual. I know in
like
talking to my other maritime museums, and I promoted it at this conference just recently, that you do need to work with all your other nonprofit type of museums or cultural institutions. And I think it's a benefit to everybody, and not everybody sees that. We're so used to competing for donors, for board members and things like that.
Right.
And for grants. But literally, we help each other find grants, find donors, and then all the other issues like workers' compensation, insurance, and things like that.
And the irony is that the funders really like it, that
They
you're
really
working
do.
together.
Yeah, so I won't mention her name, but one of the funders is called us. We'll see it because we socialize together too.
Okay.
We actually go out for dinner together
Yeah.
and go to concerts and things like that together, and they call us the Museum Mafia. And I think they do want, because they want people collaborating,
Yeah.
and we're all better for it.
Oh,
and,
isn't
and
that
our
the truth?
community is better for it.
Yes.
And especially when we're raising issues like climate change, then we're definitely better for it.
Yeah, that is great.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's look and give us just a
All
few
right.
examples.
All right, absolutely. So I know the Wilding Museum, let me go to them because I know they're doing something on fires. Yeah, so they have diverse artworks that illustrate different aspects of fire and ice. And obviously in Solvang, as in Santa Barbara, fire is a major issue.
yes.
And then, and I'm not sure, I think that is opening this week, so that's.
And so, for example, that one would be, one of the purposes anyway, would be to educate the public and kind of focus their attention on climate change, this aspect of it anyway.
Yes. And then Everhall Museum, also up in Solvang, is talking about Greenland, which is not so green, mostly ice.
Yeah.
But when that ice is melting, that's a major issue for our oceans.
Oh,
All right, 'cause-
gosh.
yeah. So they have an exhibit that is called, I got to look that one up. Land of Midnight Sun. Yeah, so that is open now as well.
So that will be an art exhibit focusing on Greenland.
Yeah, exactly.
And talking about why it matters that all this ice is melting.
Exactly, yes. And then Moxie has an exhibit called Climate Change Challenge, super artificial. And you know, they're very interactive, so they're a great museum to. So they have a hand point globe that transforms into a climate change globe.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yes. So they are innovative, right?
Yeah, they
it's
sure
in their
are.
name, so they're always looking at things differently. And then let's see, the Botanic Gardens. They have Thriving Together, the role of native plants in a warming world. Right?
Oh, that's a good one.
And they've been very good about converting, promoting the conversion of our landscaping here in Santa Barbara to more natural, less water intensive plants. So another great one. Historical Museum has an exhibit opening later soon. Santa Barbara Historical, they Take a Hike, Save the World. And so that's inspired to get people to enjoy our hiking trails here in Santa Barbara County.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then, the Sea Center just recently reopened, right? They were closed for, at a nice remodel, which I have not seen yet, so I have to go over there.
Yeah.
They have an exhibit called Dive In Our Changing Channel, all right? So you can go through on their second floor, a guided of how diverse our channel is, and the Channel Islands as well. And we call Santa Barbara Channel the Galapagos of the Northern Pacific because it has so much diversity. We really are in a very special place, and they do a great job of talking about that and how important it is. And then at the main campus, the Museum of Natural History, there's the Science of Our Changing Planet, and that's a gallery of that not only shows you the issues, but also tries to address some of the solutions.
Oh, that's really great. And so even the art museum.
Even the
What
art
are they
museum is doing
doing?
a student program and exhibition called Student Reflections on Climate Change. So they're having the students create contemporary art inspired by contemporary artists in their permanent collection.
That's really a great idea to have the students
Absolutely.
put that together.
Absolutely. And a lot of us focus on because they're going to inherit this problem. So it's important to get our youth involved in this issue right now. And to be honest, our youth tend to be way ahead of us as adults on these issues because they're growing up with it. And you look at Greta Thunberg from, she's, all of 17.
You're right.
And getting nations to change and adapt.
Yeah.
And so I think it is important for all of us to get our youth involved in these issues. And they are going to do a better job than we have doing it. And at the Maritime Museum, we have 4 different exhibits going on, including the permanent exhibit that's part of this alliance. But we also have some temporary exhibits, and we have 700 pieces of children's art involved in those pieces.
Yes, I have seen that, and that is so impressive.
Those kids are not only going to be great stewards of our environment, hopefully going forward, but they're already amazing artists, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the quality of the art is just incredible.
And they love that business about the whales.
Absolutely.
Whales and all that.
Especially the whale poop. Kids love
They
it.
love the whale poop. I can hear the giggles now.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. So the zoo also has a program for their summer camps. So they're getting involved with the kids involved in this as well.
That is great.
Yeah. So I think across the board, a lot of us have looked to the younger generation to get them involved in this.
Yeah. So involving the younger generation is so good. It seems like a lot of the museums are doing that. And then just really raising the awareness
Absolutely.
of the general population on the importance of climate change and how it will impact them.
Yes,
people.
Absolutely. So it's kind of a multidisciplinary project aimed at building a greater collective responsibility for all of us in our community.
Collective responsibility. That is great.
Because we're all, it can be frustrating for an individual. How am I going to affect climate change, right? You have major polluters, whatever. They're building coal plants still in China. How am I going to affect that? But we do have a role, all of us. There's ways we can do it. And it can be as simple as bringing your own bag to the grocery market, not getting using a cup and water out of a tap or instead of a plastic bottle, right? There's so many small things, and then as you get bigger, solar panels on your roof, and all electric cars, things like that.
Yeah, it all adds up.
It all does add up. Yes.
Gosh. Okay, so we've got a few minutes left. I am just fascinated, and I think others are too, about the ocean and how that is being impacted and or will be impacted by the climate change and how it's going to affect us.
Yeah, so they did the Blue Line project here in Santa Barbara to kind of show as our oceans rise how deep they're going to be going in. You think about the United States. We have major populations on the east and west coasts. So we're going to be all affected by rising seas, storms. We're getting, major hurricanes, things like that. As the ice melts on our polar extremes, Antarctica and the Arctic, and I'm not the scientist, but I've been told it's going to increase winds. And I'm not sure exactly why, but winds will increase. And it feels a lot windier here in Santa Barbara the last couple of years than it ever has. And so you have rising seas is one issue, especially with these major, we're getting, seems like more and more hurricanes. We have longer and more extreme droughts, certainly in the west, on the west, where you see the major fire right now in New Mexico, Oregon. We had a speaker last night. She had a major postcard collection from the Great White Fleet visit that burned in a fire in Oregon. So you have these major fires that have experienced here in our community. And then you have the issue of plastics in our oceans and these giant trash gyres that are in these that are formed by the currents that are like the size of Texas. And it's just trash. I mean, you go to beaches in the South Pacific, or I was in Belize, and there's just trash washing up on the seas. And another statistic that is just so disheartening to me is that at some point in the very near future, there will be more plastic biomass in our oceans than marine life biomass. And that's just sad. And it's not good for our marine life, right? It does affect our whales. It affects, dolphins, all sorts of marine life, kelp, the coral, everything. So, we have to act. We have to do something.
Well, I'm so glad you're part of this and you're maybe not leading the charge,
No,
but
definitely not. I am not the leader.
No,
still.
I understand, but you're right in there, in the
Yes.
midst of it. And so, let's say that we're going to encourage everybody to go to all these different museums and the zoo and the Botanic Garden to see their climate change exhibits and to really be thinking about how climate change is and will be affecting them.
Absolutely. So there is an Alliance website. So I think it's going to be posted on your screen.
Yes.
So I encourage everybody to visit there so you can find out exactly what everybody is doing, when they're doing their programs, because some of them are ongoing exhibits, some of them are specific dates, programs, lectures. So go onto the Alliance website and see that, and then visit all these wonderful institutions, because just visiting us supports us.
Yes.
Right? And we need community support, and then hopefully you help support all these, but also listen to the call to action.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. And thank you for your leadership. It's a fabulous project and for telling us all about it today.
Well, I'm happy to, again, I'm not the leader, but I'm happy to tell you all about it. We're a happy participant in an amazing alliance of people who I learn from every day from all these museum and institution directors.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus. And we'll see you next time.